That night in the hospital, when I got up enough courage to look in the mirror, um, all the swelling and the bruising had started to set in, and the reflection that we're used to seeing of our own image from the time we're young till, every day when we look in the mirror. And that night when I looked in that mirror and I didn't even recognize the person looking back at me, I was unrecognizable even to myself. Like I said, in so many ways I did die that day. Like I said, within the first 6 months, it was good. I just thought, this is good. I got someone I can depend on, help me get through this, and someone to talk to. As the relationship went on, when he'd start drinking, the physical part of it started, coming into play. He would pretty much, tell me that I was a liar, that I was no good, that I was going to have to pay for lying to him. And it's just pretty much I knew I was trapped. I pretty much just got to the point to where I didn't feel like a person anymore. I didn't. I'm sorry. I just felt like, if this was my life, I'd rather be dead than have to go through another day or experience another drunk with him. It was July 4th, and I told him that I was going to the courthouse and gonna have him served with a legal eviction, and that he would have 30 days and he'd have to move out. And I knew when I said those words, just by saying those words, that I had pretty much signed my death warrant. He grabbed my arm and he snatched the money from me, and I had just said, "Don't put your hands on me again." I said, "That's the last time." And he told me that he was fixing to show me what putting his hands on me was, and that's pretty much when it started. He got me back to the bedroom, and it just seemed like it was just blow after blow. With a closed fist, he was punching me in my face, and I knew at that point that I was fixing to die. I knew I was gonna pay for telling him he had to leave. I made his hands sore from having to beat me, and so that made him angry. So he started at that point stomping me with his feet. I just begged for mercy, and he told me he said he had no mercy for me, and that it was my day to die, and so be it. And I had remember he told me he had walked out the room, and there was a restroom. He was going to use the bathroom, and I had looked over on the dresser, and he had left the knife and their cell phone on the dresser. And I don't know, I just I felt like, I guess, when people say, their life flashes before their eyes, and a near-death experience like that, it's true. I just remember flashes of my children and thinking that, that someone was fixing to have to be calling my children and telling them that I was dead. And at that point, I just the fear kind of turned to anger, and I thought, I don't want to go out like this. I don't, this is not how my life is supposed to end. This is not how it was supposed to happen. And when he walked out of the bedroom into the bathroom, I knew if he had caught me on that phone, that would be enough to enrage him, and that would be the end of it. But for some reason, I grabbed the cell phone and I put it in the window, and I was texting. I text Mr. Donnie and his wife, and I put call 911. He's gonna kill me. I waited till I heard Donnie and Kim walk up on the porch, and At that point, I looked at David, and he looked at me and he said, well, what are you going to do? And I didn't know what to do. I was kind of scared to answer the door, but then I knew that if I was going to live, that's what I was going to do. So I jumped up and I ran to the door.
Domestic violence is very ugly. You know, there's nothing pretty about it. And yes, it's true, that night in the hospital when I finally got enough courage to look in the mirror, not even recognize the reflection looking back at me it's hard to forget. But, you know, I had made a promise, you know, to God that day that if I survived this, that I wanted to be a better person. You know, I wanted to live my life to the fullest and be the best mother I could. And if by telling my story helps, like I said, anybody else, you know, be able to have the courage to step up and say, you know, I'm not living like this. You know, I'm not doing this. I deserve better. That's the hope that I have.